Hi, everybody. This is Diane Sansom with the Woman on Purpose Mastery Program, and I hope you've enjoyed the first two videos. Just as a little recap, we talked about how, we all get to the crossroads of life a whole bunch of times in our life, and the crossroads is that place of waking up to realizing that we want to make some sort of change in our life, or realizing that something's missing and here's the direction we want to go. And so we quickly realized that gap between here's where I am now and here's where I want to go. And we're calling this the creativity or the opportunity gap. That's the whole purpose of the Woman on Purpose Mastery Program. It's about how to close that gap to get you over to those things that you really want in your life, because I'm longing to have those things in my own life, and we have to continually update to keep our lives fresh. So in closing that gap, the two foundational steps we talked about were clarifying our goals and then taking an inventory of our life. So if you've missed the first two videos, please go back. There's some great exercises, and I kind of walk you through those principles. But we're clarifying what we want for all the dimensions of our life, and then we're taking an inventory to think about, what's right, wrong, missing, and confused in our life, so that we can start closing the gap and moving forward. Okay, so today we're going to talk about something pretty cool. It's called the high contribution zone. We all need to have it. It's really our why. It's really foundational to setting goals because it's connected to who we are at our core. So this material actually comes from Module 4 of the Woman on Purpose program. It's a huge module. It's a lot of work to find our why, but it's quite exciting, and I just wanted to kind of give you a high-level overview. Okay, so again, we have our goalpost. Here's what I want. Here's where I am right now. And the building blocks that are going to get us towards our goals are based on some logical steps. And so we're going to spend a lot of time in this program on building out our high contribution zone. Basically, I won't show you this because I have it all marked up, but our why, or our high contribution zone, is based on, first of all, our values, what's important to us. And when I say values, I'm not talking about moral kinds of values, but I'm talking about the things that we need to have in our life to feel like ourselves. One for me is play, and play is exercise and swimming laps. I just feel the most alive that way, and I have energy for everything else in my life. So that's what's important to me, my values. The second piece is our talents, what we're gifted to do. We certainly want to know that. We don't want to go off on a tangent on something that we're not particularly, it's not like a strong suit for us. So talents, what we're gifted to do. And then 3 is our passions. That's the clue as to where we might want to look at using our talents. And all of that leads to, I'll just show you real quick, like a bullseye of our life purpose. And it's really about, what are we here to do when we're walking around on the planet, right? So that's the high level explanation of finding our high contribution zone. Now, I mentioned that we will be going through a bunch of logical steps to close the gap. And I just want to give you a preview of what that is. So from the foundation of actually having a life purpose statement, then we're going to create a life vision statement for you. We're going to co-create it together. We're going to build out some life strategies to move you towards your future self. We're going to talk a lot about risks and strategies, because there's always challenges and obstacles that come up whenever we set out to go towards our goals, and we better be prepared. Otherwise, they're going to knock us off our game and frustrate us. But if we just accept they're there and we learn some resources and how to work around them, we're in good shape. We'll build out a vitality wheel, which is all the things that we need to kind of re-energize us, to keep us engaged in the game of life. We're going to need some accountability partners, because nobody does anything awesome alone. We have to have some great mentors and people around us. And then eventually we actually build out your plan, your roadmap, and it has all the priorities that we say are important, and it also, we create some rocks of things that we have to do on a regular basis. So what I've just described is really a solution to the problem that I see all the time of people kind of haphazardly trying to go after their goals, or haphazardly trying to decide on a new direction for their life when it's not even connected to who they are. It doesn't have anything to do with their values or their talents or their passions. We have to have that, okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do now. This is a really awesome exercise called internal wiring, and it's going to give you a sense of where you operate most comfortably and also the things that drive you. So don't mind me looking down because I want to make sure that I really explain these well. And I'm actually going to start with the things that drive you. So it's the things that compel us forward. Everybody has some kind of internal driver, and there's 4 main categories that I'm going to share with you. Here's what I'd like you to do. Pause the video, go grab some paper and pencil because I want you to mark down a couple of things, and then you can turn the camera back on and we'll start. But as I describe these 4 different drivers, picture them kind of like 4 horses in a race, and then just think about which one might come in first and which one comes in second. And so let me give you the description and then you can kind of vote. Okay, so again, drivers are the things that motivate us or trigger us into action. The first one is called contribution. People driven by contribution are compelled to serve, to make a difference, to reach a goal and see people helped. So a great example of somebody driven by contribution is Mother Teresa. I mean, that's like an extreme example, but she cared about her social work as a missionary, and she probably wouldn't even have cared if anybody even noticed her or, gave her any kind of accolades for her work. But here's the, we're not all Mother Teresa, but if we have this driver, contribution driver, if we don't feel like we're contributing to the greater good, we're kind of out, however we define that. So you could pay somebody that has an interest in a high contribution zone a couple $100,000 a year, but if they're not contributing, out. Okay. Second driver is image. That sounds like a negative word to some, but it's not. So what we mean is that people that are driven by kind of like a presentation mode, so it could be marketing people, public relations, graphic designers, artists of the world, they're kind of like imagination driven. And it doesn't mean that they can't be leaders or they don't care about contributing to the world in some way, but they really do care about how they dress and what they drive and the image they present, and they're really great brand champions. Okay, so Barbara Walters is actually somebody who fits into this category because she hopes that we, the viewer, would think that whoever she is interviewing is found worthy of our time and her time. Okay, so third category. This driver is called primary leadership. It doesn't mean that they're power thirsty, but it's sort of like people that have this driver are kind of always at the tip of the arrow. They're not afraid to carry the burden of primary decision making, and they naturally gravitate towards taking charge, leading others, and empowering others. So, and a lot of times they wear the mantle of leadership from a pretty early age. They're not just on a team, but they're captain of the team. So some of these people that have been primary leaders, like extreme examples, Sir Winston Churchill, JFK, a company president, or even a vice president or director. So that's primary leadership. Okay, the fourth one is called secondary leadership. So these people are compelled by their innate leadership skills, but they're comfortable kind of exerting their influence and power, maybe more from the side. So they don't have to be exactly at the tip of the arrow. They don't need to be front and center, but they do like to be in the center of influence. So somebody in a role as a secondary leader could be a secondary teacher, an operational leader, an executive pastor, or a department manager. So the 4 drivers are contribution, image, primary leadership, and secondary leadership. So circle which one you're just like instinct tells you is probably comes in first and which one is second. Alrighty, let's move on to comfort zones. Comfort zones refer to the area where we have the greatest sense of ease and familiarity. It's just like our soft place to fall. And there's four of these. And again, think of these as four horses in a race, and we all have pieces of all of this stuff, but we're looking to see like what's the number one and number two horse, okay? First category, people. Some people operate daily on a basis that relationships are more important than anything else. They seemingly can't get enough with bonding with others. So people with this comfort zone, they can be introverted or extroverted by nature, and some great career paths for people with this as their comfort zone include management, counseling, pastorate, even sales. So that's people. The next category is things. These people feel emotionally at home doing something that involves the sense of touch or the use of things. Things are their comfort zone. So most good engineers are thing people. People that are like building things. And so they just enjoy producing physical or material results, or they find pleasure in making something take shape and become useful. So a chef, product engineer, tailor, architect, those are some good career choices for people with this affinity. All right, the next comfort zone is called primary ideas. So these people kind of extrapolate their own primary theories or concepts. They write their own books, and it doesn't mean that they don't care about people or things, but they're most comfortable in the world of ideas. These folks think thousands of different thoughts a day, but most likely only express a couple of them to people, and they're usually not married to any of them. They thrive in the world of strategy and creativity. Peter Drucker was a well-known theorist whose comfort zone was the world of primary ideas, and so are like any other kind of inventor or strategist. Okay, the fourth category and last category, secondary ideas. These people love to read about and listen to and assimilate other people's ideas, but if you ask them to extrapolate their own theory or concept, like primary idea people do, they're kind of uncomfortable. They freeze up, but they love to read other people's books, and they just prefer to package or build on somebody else's work. Okay, so people enjoy making ideas come alive through like strategies, plans, and procedures. So it could be writers, music pastors. Those are a couple of examples of occupations where secondary idea people could thrive. So again, the four categories are people, things, primary ideas, and secondary ideas. So just circle what you think comes in number one and circle what comes in number two. And what I'd like you to do is save this information because it'll be helpful moving forward. But now you have just like a general little window into what are my comfort zones and what are my drivers. All right. So thanks for joining me on this video today. Next time, we're going to talk more about the risks and obstacles and challenges that come up whenever we try to close the gap and go after our goals. Thank you so much, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.